Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's Wi-Fi vlog. Just a couple things this week that I'd like to update you on. Also, just a heads up, I'm not going to be talking about the Innovator's Mindset book this week. I might next week. But as always, if you need a copy of it, let me know. Some of you have asked for one, and I do appreciate your interest. And if you have any thoughts to share with me, you just let me know. But this week, I just have a couple things that I wanted to bounce off you. First of all, cool new add-on to Classroom, a very basic new add-on in Classroom. And then the second thing is just an update on Makerspace and what that's doing for us as a district, and I really appreciate all of the support. But going right into it, first things first, Google Classroom. So Google Classroom is pretty easy. The first step, or the step that they added on just in the last couple of weeks, I've been hearing about it, so I decided to explore it a little bit. If you go and you create an assignment now, it used to be that you could only create an assignment to your entire class. You couldn't individualize it, and as many of you know, I'm all about individualized learning as best we can, and so many of you are great at it. So this is one thing that make your life a little bit easier when assigning cool things and cool assignments. Now, this is really only for those of you that obviously use Classroom, but I still use it from time to time now, and I wanted to kind of show you this new feature. Again, you create assignment. Instead of creating it to the entire class, this is my class right now, you can create it for individual students. So you can take off this and say I wanted to assign something. Of course, this is my class as a principal. If I wanted to go in here and I wanted to assign Mrs. Moore something, it would just be individualized for her and that kind of thing, and you can do that in your classroom. It's a very simple add-on, but I think it makes our lives as teachers a little bit easier, and a new feature. I encourage you to see if that's something that's usable for you. Those of you that are Schoology workers or Schoology users, it may not be applicable to you, but it may be applicable if you're linking to Classroom and you're using Classroom pretty extensively, and I know some of our teachers are doing so. So just a new feature, not a real big one, but something that I hope that you can use. Now, as we move forward, I just wanted to kind of address, and again, I apologize for the halo above me having lighting issues this evening. Makerspace. I realized that it kind of floated under people's radar as it came forward, but it was somewhat intentional. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't in people's way, and I wanted to make sure that things were still going on the way they need to go on in our district, and I wanted to take this on kind of as my baby, as something that I knew that would be beneficial to all of us as teachers, and beneficial for the students primarily. This was done for them. What I ask is for your patience, and you've been so great about it. We're discovering some new and great things, discovering that it's going to be utilized, which is really important. It's going to be used, and I'm very excited about that. But with that comes some growing pains and some understanding that we're going to have to be fluid and dynamic a little bit with some things, knowing that we're going to have some consumables that we're going to have to replace from time to time. Space issues, maybe not suited for 25 kids in there, but it might be suited for 15. Perfectly fine. I've been taking some 7th graders down there, and today was my first day with 7th grade. It was a blast. They had so much fun, and looking at their faces and seeing the reactions to all the creative opportunities that they had was really precious to me. Again, I encourage you to utilize that space. I think I got all the kinks worked out in the calendar, so please look at that on the Makerspace calendar that I shared. Thinking about all the other things that I need to look at there. The 3D printer is slowly rolling out and is being used for something that I didn't anticipate. I'm actually pretty excited about it. Today, I actually discovered that obviously there's a need, especially with among our ASD population, or students with autism. Usually the symptom or disorder that goes along with autism spectrum disorder is sensory processing disorder, and a lot of times those students with sensory processing disorder, along with students that have ADHD, ADD, they have a need to fidget. They have a need to move their hands to keep them centered, to keep them focused. So many teachers have given me some input that a couple of the fidgets that I've made have been beneficial. So I've actually started making fidgets for kids, and I'm excited about those things. And here's one of them, as a matter of fact, that I actually made today. A really great fidget. I'm kind of geeking out at it myself. It's printed off in one piece, and I'm going to be making a few of these for Jennifer Conklin and for any other special education teacher. Jennifer Conklin and I talked a little bit about some of those needs, but teachers in general, in general education, I want to encourage you to utilize this as a feature too. So I'm going to make hopefully a box full of these types of fidgets and things like that you can have access to for your students, and I hope that that works. Also, individual teachers have come to me to request some things for the 3D printer, and also I've been taking it upon myself to print some things off for them as well. If you have an immediate classroom need that you would like to apply with that 3D printer, something that you want to be creative with, let me know, and we're going to kind of slowly filter this out as something that we can use effectively in our district. It's being used right now, and I'm excited about it, and I'll be honest with you, if we can apply it to even just this, to suit some needs of our students, to keep them focused and to keep them moving forward in their class without too much distractions, and keep them keep the fidgeting hands moving in an appropriate manner, that's worth it to me. So I'm excited about the 3D printer, and I guess it's fitting a bill that I didn't think it would, and I'm really excited about that opportunity. So but I'll slowly kind of develop a more of a refined process for utilizing that 3D printer. But overall, the Makerspace, I think, will be a huge success. The only problems right now that I'm kind of bumping into is, obviously things I've thought about, sustainability. How am I going to maintain it? I think the more that teachers see it, the more that they feel comfortable being more independent with it, the more they're going to be utilizing it without me. But I have to give all the props in the world to Nate for all of his help in utilizing the student tech team to help with teachers as well. And they now know the ins and outs of the Makerspace room and what can and cannot be done. And they're helping me out with that a great deal. So thank you, Nate, for all of your help there. But more communication to come for the Makerspace. Just know that it's there. Please use it. I'll be on top of it as best I can. What I'm doing is spending about 15 minutes every morning just making sure it's in good enough shape to utilize for the rest of the day. But again, I do ask that you really encourage your kids to pick up after themselves. That's been pretty good so far. Just put things back to where they were, and I'll work on recycling and cycling in some more reverse engineering things as far as the technology and old technology is concerned. So again, thank you so much for your support with the Makerspace. It's been an amazing experience. Again, something very near and dear to my heart, and I encourage you to utilize it as best you can. Look at your standards, look at what you have to get teaching in your classroom, and see if there's a way that you can apply it in your room. And if there isn't anything that's directly applied to the standards you teach in your room, one of the concepts that I'm working with the seventh graders is what's called the 20% time. It's basically 20% of their time is dedicated to creativity and problem solving. And that time is spent with me in the Makerspace, and that's what I'm utilizing it for 7th grade. So I encourage you to look at it maybe from that lens as well. Thank you for your time tonight, and I'll look forward to hearing from you. Any sort of feedback or anything, let me know. Please, as always, just email me, give me a call, and I would love to hear from you as to how we move forward with something like this especially. Have a great night. Thanks all. Thank you all. Appreciate it.